Welcome to our weekly success story show, where we interview amazing people that have overcome challenges and accomplished great things. The Success Story Show is presented by the 100 Successful Women in Business Network, a division of the Global Trade Chamber, with Al Otero, the president.
And Maria Elena Davila.
Thank you, Al. Our mission for the 100 Successful Women in Business Network is to connect, educate, inspire, and recognize women from many nations and industries that are making a difference around the world. Today, we have a special guest, and we'll talk about challenges for small businesses during the pandemic. Our special guest is Dr. Joan Wright-Good, a Ph.D., founder and CEO for the business startup Marketing Solutions and JWB Publishing, award-winning global CEO, author, international speaker, award recipient for the Successful Women in Business, and much more. Welcome, Joan. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you for having me. How are you?
Great.
Great, right? And Friday, happy that you took the time to be with us and share some tips today for all the small businesses that are in need, because a lot of companies are running out of business, suffering. They don't know, they are struggling right now.
Yeah, they're struggling. Where are you based?
So our main office is in Boca Raton, Florida.
Oh, South Florida. Great.
And we have a location in Dallas, Georgia.
Okay, wonderful. So nice to have you with us all the way from Boca.
No, and it's one of the few local guests that we have, right? That's amazing.
We've been in every continent already with ladies, so very nice to come back to Florida.
And Joan is also a recipient of the Successful Women in Business Award.
Wow.
If I'm not mistaken, it's 2021.
Correct.
See? Wow. But because we did the virtual event, we didn't have the chance to do the event in person. But next year, Joan, we're doing the convention in London, and that for sure is going to be
that's my
live in person event.
That's my third hometown, so I'll be there for sure.
Woo! Awesome.
Perfect. Tell us about your organization.
Okay, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for this opportunity. I did not take it lightly. So my business is called Business Startup and Marketing Solutions. And pretty much we help people to start businesses, to monetize, and to scale their business into 7 figures. We also do book publishing and magazine publishing. So we are a 2 industry, 1 business. And so pretty much in the pandemic, we were able to help hundreds of entrepreneurs to start their business. Actually, I do have a post on my Facebook page now and on my Instagram where one of the clients who started a little after the pandemic hit, he started in the summer, and he started with $0, just his vision, just his passion, and we were able to help him to start his business, but now he's making 6 figures and he's very much on his way to making 7 figures.
Wow. We definitely need you in this times. You're a perfect person to help all these businesses, motivate them, inspire them, and keep them going during this pandemic. I just was watching the news, and there's so much uncertainty about the economy, everything with the COVID, with the Afghanistan, but we cannot stop. It doesn't matter what goes on around us, and for years we've listened to people say, I'm waiting for the new president, I'm waiting for this, I'm waiting for the hurricanes to pass. What in the world is that? So you are an inspirer and a motivator, and I think a business cheerleader, would you say?
Absolutely. And Joan, what are the most common challenges to start a business, especially during this pandemic?
There are quite a few. I would say the top 4 that I've heard from clients are, the first one is definitely capital. They don't know where to go to get money to start their business. So I have courses and coaching programs that I help them to get grants, to get business funding, to get trade lines, and to get lines of credit to start their business. Because you don't have to start a business using your money. You can use other people's money. The next thing is education. A lot of people are not educated on the process of business. So they believe that starting a side hustle is a business. They believe hustling is a business. It's not the same. There are business acumen that you have to learn. You have to learn about taxes, about business credit. You have to know the business model that you're going to adapt for your business, because not all businesses are equal. Not all business target audiences are on the same platform. So there are several things that you need to know if you're going to go into business. So education is one. Is number two. Number three is finding customers. They don't know where to find customers. They don't know how to get leads. And I would say number four is visibility. Visibility is a key thing. A lot of people have started businesses, but they're not visible. They don't know how to get visibility and to become credible so people can take them seriously.
Wow, those are great tips. So you help people write grants? Are you a grant writer?
No, I'm not a grant writer, but we do have grant writers on staff. And
Right.
a lot of the grants that we help people to get are for profit, because a lot of people believe that grants are only for nonprofits. Not so. You have several organizations that do help for-profit organizations to get grants. You just need to know how to write those. You need to know how to write your statement of need. You can actually get a for-profit grant from nonprofit organizations, but you
Wow.
have a statement of need. What is that need that your business is going to meet, even though you are a for-profit organization? So those are some of the things that we help our clients to do. We help them to go from just an idea to making several figures, and also to leverage that so they know that once you start making money, it's not about just making the money. It's about maintaining it. It's about keeping it. It's about creating a legacy. What are the other things that you can do now to take that first income, to invest that into something else, so that your revenue continue to grow?
No, what you mentioned is extremely important. And the reason is because usually if you want to start a business and you're an entrepreneur and thinking about this idea, you focus on the idea, but not necessarily on the model, like you said. You need to have a business model.
Yes.
And at the beginning, another thing that is extremely important that you mentioned, John, about the funding. Don't use your money.
No.
Use somebody else basically money to start the business.
Yes.
And that is the first mistake that as a Chamber of Commerce we have been seeing for years. They invest, using their own savings, their money, and then after a year, probably they don't do good and they lose all their money.
Exactly.
My question for you, John, is all this process between, creating the business model or looking for grants, which is another thing that not everybody knows. Like you said, we have the conception that the grants are only for nonprofit organizations, but we don't know that actually a private company can apply for a grant.
Yeah.
But what is the process? How long it takes to have all this ready? Is a year, 2 years? What do you think?
No, it depends on the coach that you have, because my client, as I mentioned, he started in the pandemic, and within 3 months, we were able to get his. Now, this was not an online business. This was a brick and mortar. So we were able to get him up and running in 3 months. And while we were doing the labor behind the scenes to get him started, we had already started his branding, his marketing. We had already started to pitch him to media. So when his business started, he had already gotten 2 TV interviews. He had already gotten a buzz in the media. He had already had I think 4,000 people following him on Instagram. So it for every business it's different. It depends on the business. It depends on the model. Again, if you are a subscription type business or an online business, obviously it will not take that long of a time. Now you just need to know how to find leads, how to create an email list, and how to create the right landing page to send those people to your list. So it depends on the person, the mentor, or the coach that you have that is guiding you. And this is why you need coaches to guide you. Just because you have a passion does not mean you have the ability. And just because you have the ability doesn't mean that you have the tenacity. You may be gifted to play basketball, but you need guidance. You need a coach to go in and show you the different ways on how to get your game up. And this is what a coach does for you. So again, there's not one set time for a particular business. It depends on the business type. It depends on the market, and it also depends on whoever you have guiding you. Whoever have your ears, they have your heart, and whoever have your heart, they have your money. So you got to be careful who you're connected with.
That's extremely important. And I also want to take the opportunity to say hi, India, Dr. India White. She's amazing.
Yes.
And she's actually asking for your contact information for everybody. We're going to be posting all the emails and phone number, website, everything for Joan. So if you, after the interview, want to look for her, you're going to have all the information available. But thank you again, Dr. India. You're amazing.
Yeah, she's a great supporter and a partner. She's received every award we had, and she's in the book. So great partners like her will work with you to help their clients. So I think it's just a great moment right now to get more people to use your services because everybody needs them.
Everybody. And you mentioned about branding. That is so important, but not everybody understands. Mm-hmm. Please explain more about the importance of the branding for the company.
I'm glad you said that because a lot of people believe branding is having a website, is being on social media, is having a logo and having a few cute colors. That's not branding. Those are just elements of a brand. Branding deals with emotions. And I often use examples so people can understand when I'm speaking. Most people, they buy from their emotions. This is why big corporations, they'll do advertisement that speaks to your emotions. So whenever someone's advertising a perfume, they'll use a sexy model. They may use, a theme from a movie that you like. When somebody's advertising a new piece of clothing, then they find ways to speak to your emotion. That is branding. Branding is how you make people feel. Branding is people's definition of you whenever they are faced with you. So in other words, however you make people feel, that's your brand, not your color. They're going to remember how you made them feel. So when you realize, when you learn how to get into people's psyche and to help them to feel good about you, then you can present all the other elements of branding. Now, one of the elements of branding is making sure that your brand is cohesive. One, what I mean by cohesive, you can't have a cute brand like cute pictures, a great website, you're vibrant on social media, but in person you are a nasty person because you are going to go by how you make them feel. And so you cannot be schizophrenic or bipolar with your branding. You're one way here and then you're a different way in person. It doesn't work like that. The next thing you want to make sure is that your branding is omnipresent. And what do I mean by omnipresent? The same way you are on Instagram should be how you are on Clubhouse, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you are, you must have omnipresence. You must be the same. Macy's does not have a different logo, in New York than they have in Florida. When you see Macy's, you know Macy's. You know how Macy's make you feel, right? Every now and then they'll send you coupons, 25% off, this off. They have different things. They have the Thanksgiving parade. It's how they make you feel why you will choose Macy's over another brand. So again, branding is more than colors. It's more than logos. It's how you make people feel. What do people say about you when you've left the room? That's your brand.
Well, now, I spoke to a gentleman this morning in the insurance, and he was telling me how he was trying to find the cheapest insurance for the clients. I said, no. Mm-mm. You have to sell yourself. They're not buying a product. They're buying you, the relationship, and what you're going to do for them. So he said, wow, I never looked at it that way. So if you're not making them feel good, people can buy any product from anybody. What sets you apart is you. Like you said, that is head on. You need to sell yourself, your experience, your personality, the fact that you're always going to be there for them 24 hours a day. They're going to forget about the price. They don't care about the price because they want you. They don't want the price. The other thing that I always remember is I was for years in the automobile industry. Some people were selling the 8-cylinder, they were selling the leather seats. You said, no, 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 no. You have to sell how that person's going to feel getting
Exactly.
into the car, driving, and all the girls looking at them. So you have to directly target how you're going to make people feel with your product or service. So I love what you said. That is perfect.
You lead with your benefits. Never lead with the product. You lead with the benefits, and not the benefits from you, the benefits of the client. What is the end goal, the end result? How will they feel? And this is how people think about luxury. That's why people subscribe to luxury brands. They're not buying the product. They're buying the luxury. They're buying the fact that they're not going to be in the same place or wearing the same thing or driving the same thing as everybody else. They're set apart. So this is how people want to feel. Even if the product is cheap, you have to sell the benefit of the product and how they'll feel different when they support you.
That is so important. Branding that also goes together with public relations and now social media, because you are creating this identity for your company. And like you said, John, you need to be consistent and persistent with the idea. But also it's important to have public relations, right, John? Meaning being in other, I don't know, media, interviews, things that are going to also create awareness of your product or company, right?
Exactly. We actually do that. So we call that traditional marketing and external, because obviously, there's internal and external. You need both. You need both, especially if you have a product that you need massive reaction to. You can't just rely on internal marketing. You have to rely on PR. You have to rely on because your audience sits everywhere. Sometimes people think, oh, traditional PR is not necessary. People don't listen to radio anymore. People do listen to radio. And we saw that in the pandemic. People listened to radio, people watched TV, so you do need to make sure that you have a message that can be on radio. You have a message that can be on TV if you have a great PR company who can create a digital ad for you, or you can even create your own, making sure that you are following the different guidelines of the media houses. But yes, you have to make sure that you're also trained in doing interviews, in answering questions, in positioning yourself properly. But before you try to go PR or to hit these people up, you have to have some level of expertise. Like, you can't just appear on somebody's radio show and not have a level of expertise in what it is that you do, because you'll be exposed. Because we're living in a world where Google is everybody's best friend. So you can say that you are the guru of money, but when people research you, that nothing matches what you've said, then you're pretty much build your brand right there. So you have to make sure that you do have a brand before you think about PR.
And like you said, also, when you go to an interview, be prepared. I remember that I had an interview some time ago. I'm not going to say the show or the guest, but there was another guest there that was completely lost with all the questions. And I felt so bad that I was trying to help the guest, with some answers, because that person was lost. I said, wow, okay, and this is like a traditional media. So everybody was watching that. So that's extremely important. Changing a little bit the subject between the marketing, branding, how do you see the U.S. economy is doing in terms of recovering from this pandemic?
Wow, that's a big one. That's a big one. In the pandemic, 8 million jobs were lost. We lost 8 million jobs between last year and this year because of the pandemic. And I believe that's going to be a uphill battle for the current government. I would not want to be anybody's prime minister or president in this time. But I would say that one of the first things, though, we need to do as an economy, as a country, is to stop politicizing the pandemic, stop politicizing COVID. Everything that we do, especially everything that the government does from today on, they need to think about the people. They need to think about the people. That's the first thing. The next thing is that there will need to be more job injections. How will that happen? There need to be more business that are started. Entrepreneurs need to come to the forefront because we're not going to get out of this if we keep fighting each other and it's us against
Right.
them. We have to come together and realize that this is about us, and one person cannot do it. Whether you like the president or not, you like the party or not, we have to set differences aside and we have to ensure that we are doing our part. So if you know that you have a passion, if you have a gift, or if you have a talent, the onus is on you right now to step out and do that thing that you're called to do, because people are literally waiting. There are people at home that need jobs. And if you can provide jobs, then go ahead and start the business. If you can help your family, go ahead and do that so they don't have to depend on the government for another stimulus check or whatever. So it's going to take a lot of coming together. Economical strategies that puts people first will have to be employed, but it also is going to rely on the back of businesses to get started, because 2/3 of the economical spend is by consumers. So it means that consumers need something to buy, and if you have a product, especially one that people need, you need to go ahead and start working on that.
I love it. You should do this for a living.
I do speaking for a living.
No, we're very involved with the 100 Successful Women Network in touching lives and learning from women around the globe, as you know, for
Yes.
several years now. And one of the most important things people want to learn is, what are some of the challenges that you have overcome as a woman in your business and around the world as you do your craft?
I think one of the biggest challenge I had to overcome, the first one was a personal challenge. I had to move beyond rejection and understanding that when people say no, or when they say, I don't want your product or your service, or I don't want to partner with you, it's not a personal thing. Even if they meant it personal, don't take it personally,
Mm.
because they're simply not a part of where you're going. And so I had to overcome those no's, because actually how I got started in business was because I was getting a lot of no's when I went to job interviews. I had 3 degrees, I had all this experience, I thought I would get a great job, and I kept getting no, I kept hitting the wall. And that's how I started my business. I literally looked at my strengths, my opportunities, and then I said, you know what, since they don't want me, let me invest in myself and start my own so I can help other people like myself. So I had to overcome rejection and understand that, you can't build offense because people don't immediately accept you. Because when you build offense, it's like building a fence around you. So not only are you keeping yourself in, you're keeping people out who are called to what you're doing. So I had to move beyond that. The second challenge I had was like everybody else. I had a capital challenge when I got started, because when I got started, social media was not a thing. So I had to do more than these new entrepreneurs who pop up overnight. So I only had $125 to my name. That was it, because I was just coming out of a bad previous abusive marriage and divorce. And so I had to be started over. I had $125 to my name. And you know what I did after I did my research? I went ahead and registered my business. And immediately I started to advertise on Craigslist. I started to send out emails. And as God would have it, one person hired me, and then he started telling other people about me. As a matter of fact, he told his family about me, and 2 other people in the family hired me. So I was hired by a family who was pretty much my entire revenue at the time, but word started to spread, and I had to keep rinsing and repeat. That's the thing, consistency. I had to rinse and repeat. And then I started to pay attention to questions that people were asking me. So I said to myself, if they're asking me these questions, it means that they see me as an expert who can answer their questions. So instead of giving free advice, those free advices that we give people all the time, you can monetize that. So I started to monetize the advice that I would give people for free. And then I started to publish books, put them in books. And now we have, 2 companies that are making when I tell you we hire people, we hire six-figure people. We're making figures. Like we're not just about ourselves, we're about the community. So those were the major two challenges that I had. I don't look at the fact, I was recently on an interview and they asked me about about the different, how men make more money than, I don't look at that. I never see competition. Call me oblivious, but I don't look at competition, because when you are the product, you have no competition. So I don't look at the competition. I focus on my strong suits. I focus on my area of genius, and I focus on how I can leverage and monetize what it is that I have. And when you keep a laser focus, then you don't get distracted. You don't get demotivated by other people's wins, because everybody have to win. You can't be the only one winning. So
That's right. Wow. When you started the interview, one thing that came to mind, when you're doing like a side hustle, as you said, Maria has this great presentation she does. Think like a CEO. Even if you're one person, even if you're working from your kitchen, think like a CEO. So Maria's got the same idea to don't think that you're just doing a side hustle. Whatever you're doing, think and act like a CEO, because that's going to change your whole perspective. And that's so important to how you mentally think of your business.
Yes, mindset. You have to switch the dream. You have to replace the dream with the mindset of a CEO. And how do CEOs think? They don't give up. They don't close. You don't ever see a business closing because somebody had a tooth broken or a thing. No, business continues. As a matter of fact, if you work for a business and something should happen to you today, God forbid you fall out, by next week your position is being advertised. Business continues.
Yes.
So you have to find systems that allow you to run your business even when you're not well, even when you're not up to it, even when you're tired. You have to put systems in place that will still allow you to make money even while you sleep, even while you're tired, even while you're on vacation. And think about it. If businesses can pay you $20 an hour, best believe you're probably valued at $200 an hour. They're paying you a fraction of what you're worth. So you decide your worth. Don't allow people to decide your worth for you.
That is okay.
That's why they say, if you want to have a paycheck, work for somebody. If you want to be successful and wealthy, you need to have your own business, because all you're doing as an employee is making somebody else successful. So you're not doing anything for yourself. Hopefully you'll have a retirement and get a check from the government that doesn't even pay your bills. So you have to change your mindset. Everybody has gifts, skills, talents, even if you're an employee. Yes. Obviously you're working for something because you have some skills and talent. So why not take that like you did? You're a perfect example of taking what you knew, what you had, and said, why am I going to give it to somebody else? Let me do it for myself. And that's the best way to bring up the country, because if you are an entrepreneur, then you start hiring people, then you start spending, buying new cars, you're impacting the economy. So you got to change the way you think.
John, what tips you can give us, especially for these entrepreneurs that are looking to grow their business?
Could you say that again?
Tips. What tips you will provide for entrepreneurs that are thinking to expand or grow their business? Even if it's local, national, or even international, because now with the globalizations and the globalization and the digital era that we're living, really is not difficult now to connect with people from any part of the world.
Yeah.
So that would be the very first step, to collaborate. Collaboration is the key to wealth. If you look at wealthy people, they all collaborate. Oh my God, even competitors collaborate. Google collaborates with Facebook,
Wow.
Business people, wealthy business people are always collaborating. So this is why you can't see people as competition. You look at them as completion. So collaboration is the key, because when you collaborate, you are exposed to other people's markets. Just this morning, I posted on my Instagram 4 things that you can borrow to grow your business that does not need money. Borrow people's audiences, because you are now exposed to other audiences, and there it is, you can get more leads. And then the second thing is follow up. A lot of people leave money on the table because they don't follow up. follow up people. Yesterday, I had a hit from someone on my Instagram, and she just asked, how can you be my mentor? She told me in her head, she was just asking that question. But best believe immediately on Instagram, I gave her my email and I gave her my phone number to call. What did I do? I put the ball in her court, but I was immediate with my follow-up. And sure enough, she did. And when she called me, we had a free 15-hour no obligation consultation call, but I was able to lock her in as a client because I was quick with my follow-up. And the hack that I did, which some people say, I wouldn't put your business email and your phone number. Why? Even though she asked a question, I guarantee you that maybe 10 other people wanted to ask the same question. So you just helped 10 people by one question. So you want to make sure that you're following up. The next thing you want to do is, let me use another example. I remember a client that had reached out to me 4 years prior to I signing her as a client. And I kept reaching out to her every quarter. I would send an email, just, not pitching her, but just reminding her how fabulous she is, how fabulous her passion is. 4 years later, she connected with us with one of our signature products. She spent $25,000 with us because we continue to follow up. So there's money in follow up. Not because they don't buy now doesn't mean they won't ever buy. And that's the thing with entrepreneurs, they give up, too quickly. The next thing you want to do is to ensure that you're optimizing your bio. I can't say this enough. There's so many people on social media, but they're not using social media. Make sure you optimize your bio. You say in your bio, whether on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram, who you are, how you change people's life, how people will feel after connecting with you, and give them call to actions. So optimize your bio. And because of time, the last thing I would say, you want to create content that converts. Make sure that your website is a website that helps people to convert. You don't give them all this information and never upsell them or direct them to where they can go to make the decision today. So you want to make sure that you're putting out information that converts. If you're on Instagram or any other platform, give information that people can share, but when they share it, your information is on there so people go back to the source. So those are some of the things that I would say that you can use to grow your business. Obviously, there is the funding that I mentioned at first that you literally can get funding. There are so many people who are offering womensnet.com is one of those places, but there are some places. I have a list of over 350 platforms that people can get funding that I give to my clients.
But it just goes on. You could go on for days sitting here talking.
It's supposed to be for 15 minutes interview, but this is so exciting.
We don't want to stop. This is amazing. Two things that I think real quickly. The main reason that I learned over the years why people don't follow up is the fear of rejection.
Yes.
Because they're thinking that they're going to tell them no. But you are missing out on a ton of opportunities. First, you're going to miss out on repeat customers. And the second is you're going to miss out on referrals.
Yes.
So if you're not following up in this fear, somebody buys a car, they drive it home, and the salesman don't follow up because the customer is going to say, oh, this doesn't work, I don't like this.
Exactly.
So those are all opportunities.
Exactly, because that person, when you follow up and you show them that you care, it's about them, they're going to tell all their friends, when their friends see that card, they're going to say, hey, yo, I got this from so-and-so. Go to Mary, go to Maria, go to Pet. They're the ones who helped me to get this deal. So that's what we do when we don't follow up. We're leaving so much money on the table when we don't follow up. I'm telling you, it works for me.
Well, you're changing lives, and you're going to change a lot more, and we hope to do much more to share your story, because it is exactly what people need right now, Maria. Everybody's on a point that, what do I do now? But you are a miracle lady. So we're so happy to meet you and learn more about you and your incredible tools and advice that you're helping people. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
So what is the website where people can visit?
Oh, okay, awesome. Thank you. So they can follow me on Instagram at Joan Wright-Good. All of my social media platforms is Joan Wright, WRIGHT Good. My website is businessstartupacademy.live. Now, if you can't find it, just go to joanwrightgood.com and you will be able to be funneled over to the business website where you can see all of the marketing, the branding, book publishing, everything that we do for our clients.
Amazing. I
What
love
a Friday. I'm pumped.
I'm inspired.
Yeah, she is phenomenal. We're so happy to know you, and now you're part of our family, and we're gonna do amazing things together for years to come.
And for sure, we're gonna see her next year in London because.
Oh, she's already committed to buying us lunch, didn't you say that?
Use that is your second home.
Thank you. I'm so happy for
Fantastic.
and I really appreciate you guys and the platform and all the work that you're doing for women globally. Please continue doing the good work because we appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, I think it was amazing, all the conversation and information. I love it. I love it. So thank you so much, everybody.
What a way to start Friday. I'm ready. So have a wonderful weekend. I will see you next week on Success Stories.
Bye. Have a nice weekend.